again, it's just like, open my mind. Come on, man, get with it. Whatever it is, just get with it.
It's opened your mind, and you've opened up the intro to the show. Grant Holland, thank you. You're a familiar face. Thank you for coming on the Relationship Show. Pleasure to see you as always, Concer.
You too, Luke. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Oh, it's great. Always great chatting with you. Last time was what, three years ago?
So
roughly?
You say?
So you say, yeah. Oh, are you telling me that you haven't got your little black book going? No, I exactly remember the date that I interviewed with the Luke Farr show.
No, it's just like you look older, and I look like hell of a lot older. Like I look ancient older.
All right. Well, Casey Clinic with my Botox can't be doing anything great. So
yeah. Let me fix you up, man. Let me hook you up.
But hey, thanks for coming on. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I mean, first things first, I want to give the audience just a little bit of context about Grant Holland. Obviously, president of Karate New Zealand, high performance coach at SalesStar, and then even moving a little bit backwards too. You were headhunted by Westpac way back when to become head of Westpac High Performance for the commercial and agri sector. 800 sales staff there, reporting via 35 managers, and you tripled their market share. And then you were instrumental in growing SalesStar by over 60% in 2016, which feels like a million years ago. But yeah, I want to jump also, I mean, which is phenomenal efforts. I mean, obviously you just live and breathe high performance, but also like to talk about that around the similarity between sport and business. I mean, what do you think fundamentally is a secret ingredient to success for both sport and business?
Yeah, it's a cool topic, I think it's back on again. I think when you're talking about some of those years, that's over a decade ago or two, and I think back then, you know how business would turn to sport for sports mindset, and also for sports relentless pursuit of goals. So the mindset, the desire of sports teams or individual athletes, their commitment to achieve they take ownership and their motivation. It's just all so unequivocal, and that's why I say that relentless pursuit of goals. And I think business like that, you'd be at conferences and stuff, and you'd be a sports celeb come and speak, right, as a guest speaker to all these business people about those areas. I don't know if you can remember that, or anyone can remember that, but I certainly do. And that was the highlight of a conference. It was like, wow, we can learn so much from this sport, this All Black, this whatever, this netballer, this person who sailed around the world on their own in a oversized chili bin sort of thing,
It's funny you mentioned that. I remember Jonah Lomu coming actually to speak when we were younger, man, and just there were just certain things he was saying around just that sort of things like team camaraderie, and dealing with people on and off the paddock and things like that. That's definitely resonate in business. So there is so many similarities, as we all know.
That's right. Yeah, dead right. So be careful, because I'll end up flipping this and I'll interview you. So anyway, I'll get a bit out.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe we do a competition. Who can offer the best insights, Grant or Luke Farr? I mean, I've interviewed enough people now. Hopefully, I've got some of my own. Hey, that was the purpose of the show. I was just doing the show to learn.
Okay, at the end, Luke, we're going to we'll do a flip. I'll ask you, like, Luke, what's the biggest insights thus far in your journey, and you can do the same. All right, we'll just throw we'll throw our sunscreen story out. Wear sunscreen, and we'll see what we got.
Sure. So hang on. Why are we doing that at the end? Because don't they say just start with the most valuable thing at the start?
It's all valuable, man. It's all valuable. Right. Anyway, for the structured people out there, right? So then they know that. So we say, okay, so business turned to sport, but I think that sport can learn from business, right? What areas? I'd say business strategy outshines most others, and I think it's the winner out of sport and business. Business has got the up on strategy, but I also think that processes, man, manufacturing processes, sales process, finance, marketing now, that's really, really well known in the last 5 or 6 years. And I think those processes and systems that are run within business, I think sport can learn from that. So what I'm saying is since mid last year, I've been combining both. So I've been combining that relentless pursuit of the goals and the mindset from sport with the process, the strategy, and the strength. Well, just really the strengths of both, and it works. It's a winner.
Yeah, nice. I like that. And but the people management aspect between business and sport, I mean, there's so much similarity there, effectively, isn't there? I mean, between that person in your sales team, for example, to correlate to the person on the paddock, having to deal with them, understanding who that persona is, their level of emotions, what not to say, what to say, not only from a management perspective, but I'm talking about being on the team, being either you're the, I mean, we all know, you've seen this many times before, the superstar of the sales force, right? That there's that energy towards them that's like, there's a bit of animosity, and the competition starts to grow. So
yeah,
it's an interesting, but you'd know more about this than I would.
Hey, no, it's just gonna say, give us some insights, man.
Just my anecdotal opinions on this from me being in big Salesforce teams and also playing football. So yeah,
leadership to me, it's simple. Leadership's people, management is tasks. So people leadership, sport, business, whatever it is. If you can understand, I love Maslow's. Where are they at in their journey, in terms of Maslow's? Because if you want to reward someone with something and they're in a different stage or phase in motivation, it'll miss. If you look at how they're motivated and how they're demotivated and tune into that, then you'll be able to draw into their latent gifts, their latent energy, unbelievably. So you've got, as a leader, you've got to understand that you've got to be able to tap into that, because that's people. That's the people principle. Understand them. And primarily I'm talking about understand the motivation and get the motivation out.
Yeah, 100%, Grant. And I mean, there are so many similarities there to the Japanese that you would have definitely known being in Karate New Zealand, but a car guy, like, what's your purpose? And then the Shikate guy, no, control what you can control. The charm of flaws, which is wabi sabi. I'm not on Google here. This is just coming from me naturally. I know you're laughing right now, but no, seriously, there is that element across all facets of life, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Beautiful insight. Ikigai, love it. And you mentioned that you went there. Okay, come on. Okay, what else can we do? We've done 2.5 minutes. What else can we do? Come on.
Oh, Garmin, stay strong. Kaizen, always seek to improve. Shuha, right, learning and mastery. But anyway, no, I want to bring it back. Hey, we all hear about purpose, Grant. If someone is under it, this is something that actually resonates a lot with me, because when I was younger, really just lacked that direction, lacked that purpose. And it was hard to find any areas that I could, or any areas or tools or an environment where I could find a purpose. But I mean, in your experience, if someone is unaware of their purpose, how can they simply go about finding it?
Yeah. So look, I do a lot of work with organizations around purpose if they haven't, identified that, but also with individuals. I tend to work with a lot of people on boards or in leadership roles around their purpose, not just their organization's purpose. And for me, it's all about their why. But you said, what if they haven't got an understanding of their purpose? To me, that's a shame. Again, there'll be so much lacking and missing. So, hey, without waffling on, I think in simple terms, examine your life story, or have someone work with you for 5 minutes, just talking about your life story. What did you do here? What did you do there at this age? When can you remember doing this? When can you remember, if it's around a purpose for career or work, we'll talk about when did you first remember working? Did you go with your parents somewhere, or and you get all these stories out. Why did you like that? What did you love about it? Why is it that you wanted to do that? And sometimes they had to, sometimes there'll be things about it that they love. And then just keep traversing through the probably 5-10 year blocks right up until their most recent role in their career. Same process though, right? What do you love about that? What did you love about that phase? What did you love about those times? Why did you do it? And then ultimately you can look at that story, summarize it, and then ask the ultimate question is, why do you do what you do? I mean, you imagine asking that straight off the bat, and people will go, why do I do what I do? You get a shallow answer. Oh, I do it to whatever. I do it for the money. I do it for money. I do it
to pay the mortgage or to feed my
yeah,
kids.
and you get the shallow level, right? So, but when you go backwards in life and build it up, I find that a lot of people can answer why do I do what I do, and then challenge, just peel that even harder and harder and harder. So what? Why? I want to know the real why. So anyway, that's kind of it.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that. And you talked a little bit there, really, to unpeel that a bit, which is exposure. Well, what were they exposed to as a young kid? And the first thing you said was, if they don't know their purpose, oh, what a shame. And yeah, that is a shame, isn't it?
What a shame, what a waste. What's driving them? What's them going?
Exactly. But if we go to that psychological level and someone hasn't been exposed to much, they're only seeing a limited amount of things. Therefore, hence why the purpose and the why is not there, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
They haven't seen anything at all.
That's right.
Like, you're only going to have a greater sense of purpose and why when you're exposed to more. Your environment's more diverse. All of that stuff.
Do you know how many leaders haven't examined this? Or I think I get the privilege to, because people would expect that people with titles such as CEOs and managing directors and board chairs, and that they're wise, they're learned, and they know their shit. But I do this and this story and draw it and peel it, and at the end, for a bit of light relief, I often ask a lot of these individuals, so who else knows this? Who else have you shared this with? And it's a privilege, but it also saddens me a little when I hear, I've heard so many times, either no one else ever, not even your kids or your wife or your parent, or your closest, dearest and nearest, or maybe one other person. And so in their whole life, how can it be that I'm only the second freaking person that they've actually gone there with?
It must baffle you. It must baffle you more than it has just me just now. But
well, it feels
crazy,
like when someone goes there with you for the first or second time in their life, and I'm talking 30 to 50 years worth. One, the gravity of that privilege, you recognize it, but also, you think, well, if you haven't gone there, what are you in the deep end, man? Or you just got your floaties on up the shallow end?
Probably the latter, Grant.
Yeah, totally.
That's crazy. So how can we enable someone to remove those floaties?
Yep. Get them in front of me, man.
Yeah, 100%. You'd be good. You'd be.
You.
Oh yeah, you want me? Oh, yeah. I don't need you just yet. However, I may do. I see why you're coming on the show. You're trying to convert. Right. You're trying to find a new client. Gotcha. Right. That's good. Hey, let's talk. Let's talk about karate. Out of every discipline in the world, Grant, why karate for you? Why didn't you go into mixed martial? Why did you not do taekwondo? Why did you not do BJJ? What did you love about karate, and what drawn you to that?
Okay. Well, I'm in a bit of a cheeky mood, so it'd be fair to say that because I'm such an old, the second word sounds like old fella. There was
are we allowed? Sorry to interrupt you there. Are we allowed to divulge your age? I don't think you're anything over 45.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I've got a couple of years left right? And I mean a couple. And I'm gonna go retire at 60. So there's a couple of years to go.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great. You don't look a day over 65. Anyway, no,
thanks,
please continue. Please continue. There you go.
Thanks, Luke.
Building rapport here. It's the relationship show.
I love it.
Anyway, but why
There was
karate? Yeah.
there was boxing. There wasn't much around, right? There's go to the movies and watch Fists of Fury at the Hollywood in Avondale. So, hey, I distinctly remember I was skinny. We're always trying to be trim, but I was skinny, young. A skinny young boy, and I felt like I use the word weak because I wasn't strong compared to other people around and family, friends, whatever. In sport, I wasn't strong, and I was unconfident. And those two things, skinny, weak, unconfident, sounds horrendous, but they're my words of myself. No one was telling me that.
Sure.
And so I saw this thing called karate, and I saw these old, older people than I was about 5 then, and I saw through karate, I saw their strength, and I saw their confidence. Man, they were tough. They were hard. They were tough. They were strong. The movements they had power, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I can, and that's what drew me to it, right? The lack, right? The need for it, the gap that was there, and then I saw it, and I thought, wow, crisp, focus, speed, power, confidence, tough, all the things as a weak, skinny, runty one in the litter that you want to be. That's what.
Sheesh, don't be so hard on yourself.
Hey, not now.
No, of course not. No, you're very, very far removed from the litter now.
Very, very different. So that's what drew me. But I also would guess I should talk about what's kept me.
That's also good too, and that's interesting. Like we can unpack that, but yeah, just why not boxing? Why just specifically? Because you can get all the elements that you just discussed, which is self-confidence, feeling powerful, having high self-esteem. You can get that out of all of those disciplines. So that's why I want to probe a little bit. I go, why specifically karate? And then we can touch on what you just said there. What kept you there?
Well, it's as shallow as this. There won't be much depth, I fear. So my father taught it down in our backyard, and I saw these tattooed men and a few women, and so I was exposed to it. And then up the road from us was another legendary karate teacher. So it was just in my little cocoon, my little world. And so if it had been boxing or it had been judo, it probably would have been that, because at 5 you don't understand, you're in bliss.
True. Yeah, exactly. You're in bliss. You're in bliss mode. That's so good. And so what to your next part there? What the two-prong approach? What's kept you in karate for so long?
Yeah. So I think my confidence grew. I started seeing a standout in my ability to focus, like a really standout ability to focus, man. Instead of boogie and just make stuff up on the fly and let's just what do you shoot from the hip, all that stuff. My ability to focus what became a standout, and I was aware of that. And then through your gangly teens and things, and probably through the 20s, I was able to but work towards mastering your body, what you can do with your body. Don't waste your feet. Your feet, you can walk on them, but you can put your feet up around people's heads like you wouldn't believe. And so your feet are a long way from your brain. But man, when you can master what your body can do through, breath, through connecting, parts of your body that are a long way away from your brain and put them in places within millimeters, it's a delight for you. and then also you never will, but to, I'd say master your mind. It's probably a work towards master your body, master your mind. Because when you bring those two things together, it's very satisfying. If anyone's watching, they'll say it's impressive. It blows them away. So I think that's a little bit sort of through it. Fun stuff. I got to travel the world how many times over? Past 100 countries.
Oh, congrats! Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So great times in real foreign countries. Greatest of times in life, apart from anything to do with family, of course. And
are you just saying that because your wife's in the next room, or is that you just?
Oh no, there's nothing.
No,
there aren't. Man.
Oh, completely facetious, but yeah.
No, good test.
Good test, yeah. Just seeing how resilient you are.
Good test. But also, and then I think third and last is to return it. So I'm now focused on returning that confidence and that discipline and that focus for others, and particularly, children and youth. And why? Because I was fascinated by research around, teen morbidity. And this is great depth. I won't get too gloomy, but teen suicide. New Zealand's shocking with our performance there.
Second highest youth suicide rate in the OECD. There we go.
Yeah. Yes. So a couple of things came out of the. Yeah, it is. Out of this research came two standouts for me: boundaries and regulation. And you can unpack that, but they're two fundamental answers to helping that. And I looked at that and went, boundaries, regulation, and all the bits that you can unpack that with. And I went, it's just reminding me of something. Karate, right? Put kicking and punching and sweating and breaking and put all that aside and go boundaries. So many boundaries and so much good regulation around karate. You're never late. You never swear. You don't argue with you respect those that have gone before. So all of these great things that are the real part of karate. And I think, wow, if I can return that, then the real purpose for that is beyond just babysitting, kicking, punching, competing, traveling the world, making great friends. It's actually probably life, Yeah.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Grant. And seriously, there's something there that you just said that I want to slightly unpack. That and it's hard sometimes when someone's so articulate like you, and you carry on, and then there's a point that you just, as an interviewer, you want to kind of jump in and you go, no, actively listen, and then no. But I do want to draw back to that seriously. That point around the teen suicide part, but not only that, but around them learning a discipline. Have you noticed because you've been doing this for for Karate New Zealand, you've been doing it for at least 15 years, right?
Karate, yeah. Well, I'll just say over 40 years and leave it at that. Oh no, okay. We've already talked about AJ. Yeah, okay.
But I just want to ask the question around what impact have you seen from the youth from well, no, we don't even need to go that far back. But so not only what you've done, but just for karate in general, and it could be any discipline. But what have you seen in the confidence of the youth today because of what all of these disciplines are doing? And it'd be good to unpack that. But I am sure they're far more confident than what they were 20, 30 years ago.
At a grassroots level, I see kids still every day coming in to a dojo, and I know through the networks in New Zealand and throughout the Commonwealth countries and then throughout the world, it's the same. Kids come in, a little bit like this, chins down, eyes down, really lacking in confidence, and the parents are bringing them in. Brilliant. I see within a few months the chins are up, And to me, what does that tell you? It's jump.
And then the chest comes up too. First the chin, then the chest.
And then the chest. But
Pop that out, baby.
It's underpinned by humility, right? So the confidence is balanced all the time with humility. But I see that confidence come up, and isn't that a wonderful thing? I dare
to interrupt you there. I'm sorry again, but that's also entwined with our heavy tall poppy syndrome culture here. You wouldn't necessarily see that in places like America. Like we're really underpinned by that tall poppy. It's short. You know, when you're saying they come in with the chin down, that's not just because they're scared of coming to karate. That's our tall poppy syndrome culture walking in, and then for you to build confidence. But yeah.
Anyway. So I imagine where those two paths would diverge, right? Follow that path of a lack of confidence for how many years to a humility-based or humble-based confidence. Brilliant, right? And then you see them with some of the things I talked about, and what they can do with their mind and their body. And ultimately, I see them. I often think about that all the time, and I'll say it. I see them becoming better people, and you might say, "Gee, that's judgy, Grant." But I see them becoming better people because of character, because of what they apply, and compared to their journey, only versus themselves, I believe they're more victorious, in their own journey with themselves.
Well, probably, and I wholeheartedly agree. Look, I haven't been in that environment, but it logically makes sense. If you're going to go to a training area with not only the dojo, but any discipline, and it builds your confidence, what's that going to do in your first job interview? You're going to be a little bit more confident just based on what you've learned. So it does transpire into other areas of your life. So I completely agree. I wouldn't disagree with that statement at all.
I see these teens, early 20s. To me, that's young, and I see their ability socially. Wow, their ability in terms of their character again. They're just great people. I hear so many people complaining about youth. Well, okay, fair enough. But on the other side of the coin, they're not all troubled. They're not all shitheads, right? Some of them are amazing, and I look at it and I think, well, the future's in good shape. Look at the way they're interacting. Look at the way their behaviours, right? Which is again values, and I think, and I just think, wow, I'd hand over so much to them. They probably do a better job than my lot did.
You are in a cheeky mood. I'm enjoying this. It's great. Hey, let's talk.
You get to the point, right? You get to the point. What is there left to prove?
100%. Look at you. You're
taking me a while, but
you're just raining down absolute what I call value hammers. Can't stop you. Can't stop. Won't stop. I want to talk about character. You just brought that up. For you, I mean, you've obviously seen a lot of youth, worked with a lot of youth, and also been around the world. And it's not just the youth, but people. But for you personally, like what type of behaviors and traits do you look for when you say, hey, I really respect that character, I like that character, I think that character is a good person? What are some of those behaviors and traits that we probably all, if we aren't there yet, we want to aspire to?
Yep. Are you a good person? The karate story.
What does that mean though? Because I mean, we can unpack that. I mean, are you a good person? What does a good person look like today?
Yep. I reckon, a lot of it's around values. Do you do what you say you're going to do? I'm probably talking integrity here, right? We're throwing a few banners out there. Can you be trusted? Do you choose to do the right thing, whether people are watching you or not? Is it through and through? Do you live it? I'd say those are some standouts for me. Do you persevere? And I think, again, those sort of things to me sound like values. And so I'm happy to throw that at it. But if
No,
they're
I like
common, you live into them.
I like those pillars for sure. Ultimately, yeah. I mean, trust stood out there in a big way. Yeah. Can you just trust
truth.
someone if they say something, they're going to do it.
Simple as that.
100%. Yeah.
Being a better person. Do you persevere? Do you try? Do you help?
That's another big one too. Yeah. The help part. You're kind of selfless in a way. Do you want to help the community or help your family? Yeah. Are you doing things outside yourself?
Yeah, I think that's a better person.
So,
but different sort of vibes and cultures have different value sets. But that's character, and I guess like since we last were together, I sat on my 5th degree black belt for a long time.
Together, did you say?
Well, yeah, I said.
Oh, you just said together. I'm like, hang on, for the audience out there, guys, can we just get that very clear to the audience?
Okay, so I was a 5th dan for a long time. My teacher's 82. He's a real deal. And
how long were you 5th dan for?
10 years.
Oh, okay, right.
So I probably couldn't kick any faster or harder or punch any harder or faster. But what it was about was character. So here's another point towards character. Less around ego. Now, ego's big trouble. Ego's big trouble in sport. It's big trouble in politics. It's big trouble in business. It's one of the 2 evils of the bloody lot, isn't it? Ego and power. But ego and power, 4th and 5th dans, you've been at it a while, you can kind of get a little bit into that space of ego and power. And it's, you need to move past it, a little bit more self-actualized, a little bit more humble. And so the test for me that I had to go through was character, really understanding character, and not just saying it, intellectually understood it, actually showing it, and for a long period of time. And I think that was I can't put words in his mouth, but my assumption of it was, until I could prove my character to the standard that he was looking for, I would stay a 5th dan, and when I could, I'd become a 6th dan. Make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And how many, just for the people out there, and also myself too, being vulnerable and not knowing, what's the maximum level of dan you get? Is it 10 dan or 9 or?
Generally, it's 10. There's a few wackos out there that have 14 or 16. But did I say that? There's a few variances. But
hang on. So there's not one accurate global system of the dan. So there's 10. What? Okay, it's 10. Okay.
10. Right. But you always get your loonies, right?
Yeah, true. They're somewhere out there in Uzbekistan or Russia going, no, we'll invent our 16th dan.
Yes, 16th dan.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's 10, and you're at 6.
Yes.
And when I spoke to you 3 years ago, you were at 5.
Yes.
So it took you 3 years. See, I'm holding you accountable here, Grant Holland. That's great. Took you 3 years to get the. So if I was to do my maths right, it is going to take you another 12 years to get the 10 done if you continue the same way.
No. No, it was 10. It was 10 years from 5 to 6. It was 3 just to get the last bit done.
Gotcha.
So
right.
It'll be another 40 years. Yeah, it'll be another 40
to get to 10 done.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you can get there. I mean, what are you now for? So, okay, so you'll be, great. That's not bad. You'll be 68.
The first thing about being good enough to be a 10th dan is you got to live long enough.
Oh, right. Yeah. So actually, hang on a minute. I reckon the last 3 dans are nothing to do with actual performance. Yeah. It's just to do with, community driven. Are you alive? Yeah. Is your heart still beating? Are you still wearing your gi or whatever you guys call it?
Yeah, that's it. You got it, man. You got it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. That's
yeah.
So good.
I know. It's crazy.
I mean, you know me, Grant. I don't like to ask cliche questions on the Luke Fo Show, but this is the relationship show, and I feel as though I can throw it out there. And I think it is an important one, actually. But knowing what you know now, and if you were to start it all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, you wanna do some what's that old sort of song, almost a semi-rap, wear sunscreen, right?
But well, you just have so much wisdom and have learned so much over your time. But yeah,
Okay,
if you were to throw it all back,
I'll give it to you.
just one thing. Just one thing. We don't need to get complicated.
This is quite a distance away from business cycles, business performance, the C-suite. This is what I do tell myself, right? For sure. From your childhood years, you may feel something about you. I'm not going to say what that has to be. I felt something about me, again, when I was 5 or 6, and I'd say, let it guide you to a purpose or a destiny. Because I felt at 5 years old that there were great things to be achieved, and I wasn't looking around and going, compared to you. I just felt it really strongly at primary school. And so I just say, let it guide you, because I followed it, and you know, on poly levels, I blew myself away with what I achieved, right?
All through school, would your teachers say to you, amongst all the other kids in the cohort, were you the more ambitious one? Would they be like, geez, Grant's got a lot of energy and he's a go-getter? Was that sort of the narrative if we were to speak to your teachers today? Not that we're going to loop them into the call right now. I mean, it'd be lovely to chat to your drama teacher, but
I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they'd say. It's about what I was saying to myself, and it's about that feeling that I had. And I do enjoy saying to youngsters, you know, there'll be one in every little bunch that's got something they feel about themselves, whatever it is. Let it try. Let's see if it'll take you somewhere. And follow it, man, because it just might be the highest of highs in your life, right? If you follow it. For me, it was about achieving great things. For others, it will be all sorts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that eye glance down at the end there, knowing that you just nailed it. You just hit it out of the ballpark. Yeah, it was a great. I'm thoroughly still enjoying the answer to that question. Hey, let's chat sales just for a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up. But let's chat for your time. I mean, way back when, man, you were sales director of Wormald, and you took the company from 50 million to 100 million inside 3 years to #1 in the Tyco group worldwide. That is an absolute phenomenal achievement. I mean, what orchestrated that exactly, do you think? Amongst many things. But yeah, how'd you get there? What were the ingredients?
The ingredients were, and look, I haven't worked with hundreds, but I've worked with about 70 businesses, you know, post the ladder climbing career. Now as a coach, as a business coach, what do you do after you've been a CEO a couple of times or been on boards and things? For me, it was coach, and I've been able to keep repeating this formula, not with me deeply in the mix. So yeah, for me, the formula is around systems and processes, mindset, and skill development. And there's a lot I can unpack and behind those. But what's repeated, you know, what helped us so much at Wormald and Tyco, and then following on into Westpac, was getting top-notch sales training to get into, you know, target markets, to get into processes, you know, best processes, to get your mindset right, and then your sales methodology. And that takes quite a bit of development. It's a bit of a journey. It was sort of a 7 or 8 year journey, and I think the coach at the time bless his socks, was probably milking it a bit. But you can do it in a year now, right? It's a bit faster. Yeah. It's got to be underpinned by some leadership, and what makes good leadership, again, the people side, the management side, measure metrics. So that's some of the secret herbs and spices.
Yeah, no, I like
that's a
that.
20-minute talk just on its own, otherwise.
Oh, exactly. No. I appreciate those, just the fundamental pillars of that. No, I do like that. That's lovely. And it sounds like a very healthy dish. Yeah.
It's a healthy dish, man.
I mean, this is off the cuff here, but why are most sales, okay, but besides performance on a salesperson's quota, which is actually the majority reason as to why they're fired, but what is there anything else as to why they're being fired? Is it not a cultural team fit, or they're not they don't look sustainable within the company for a long period of time, or is there anything else besides purely just, hey, you haven't hit your quota for 3 months, you're gone?
Okay.
I've seen it, I've witnessed it. I've also managed SalesStar, but I just want to get your opinion. I mean, you're the sales coach. I've never coached a sales team.
Let's make it clear, right?
I just had a good team. They always performed.
Luke and Dutchy haven't had to face this themselves, like as in being fired. Okay, let's make it clear. Are you worried? Are you close to it? You want some help?
I just was always hitting my quota. Yes, that's hard. It's tough job.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't really have it, man. To be honest, and sorry to interrupt you there, I was sales to me, like, just for me, it was literally building likability, trust, and understood my client. Like, I never got all caught up in chasing the quota. Like, I built strong relationships, and the money would be the byproduct. And people would always ask me, "Oh, geez, why are you selling so well?" No, I just naturally got along with people, and I think, yeah, I mean, it would be great to hear your understanding. You've dealt with many more salespeople than I have, but for me, that's what really worked. Was genuinely building a relationship, showing them a product that is just a little bit different in the market, but then fix their problem, and then showing them that I'm around all the time as well, staying there long. And so they're like, you're not just another rep that comes and goes. Like, you actually kind of care, and I did care, like, about them and their business. And so my sales numbers would always be great, but it wasn't like I set out there to be like, oh, I'm so hungry for commission, and gosh, I want to reach the biggest target in the company. But I always did. No, I mean it in the most humble way. But it came there from focusing on something else other than the numbers, which is ironic, isn't it? Because when you're in sales, you're focusing on the numbers. But I focus on the core of the human.
Well, if the numbers are the outcomes, they're all, if those are the goals, right? If the goals are to make a revenue number and margin number, then that's got to be really, really clear. And I'd say don't back away from numbers. In sport, you'll often hear me say, win with your values intact. So a top, sure way to lose a job in sales by repeatedly underperforming. You've already identified that. Another sure way is perhaps by performing, and you do see some of the top achievers performing, no values, right? So they're internally and externally no display of values, and so where that leads internally with the rest of the team and with the clients. So big lacking, and that's another way that they'll probably end up being down the road, being fired.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get them out of there. I like that. Very good. And we're now at the back end of this, and it's time for, we'll do three hot questions from Grant to Luke. So far away, champ.
Okay, Luke. So we talked about.
Here we go. I've opened up a recipe for disaster here.
We talked about an insight from my childhood years, right? Like, if you feel something, let it guide you. Give us your insight from your childhood years.
Sure. And I felt from to be fair, and this is going deep and being vulnerable here, but when my parents split up at 15, that that was a huge, absolute traumatic thing for me at that age. And but what guided me out of that and what I became from that was, I feel today when I look back, as a far stronger individual. And not to be cheesy, but I really am. But that there, it's funny when you talk about confidence and building strength, because at a young age, when I was 12 up until 15, I always thought I had the perfect little family and my parents would never split up, and I want the fairy tale wedding. And that's what you think of as a young kid. You don't know anything better. But when your whole family just reshifts and your parents go elsewhere and they've just left you, there's a lot of abandonment there. So the first thing you do is go, shit, I've got to fend for myself now. And that just builds this organic level of confidence and character that you don't have when you're overly sheltered. I know I'm going a bit deep.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I can see your facial expressions are going, hang on a minute, mate. We're not in a psychology session, and I'm gonna Grant. Hold on, I'm gonna get an invoice from Grant after this.
So,
question number 2.
You're staying on the topic and just a little scratch, a little bit deeper.
Sure.
So I got a question for you, and the question's along the lines of, when you're going through those difficult times, whatever they may be, they're pretty horrible. And you don't realize, you only realize when you're out the other side, and you look back how valuable that was for you to go through. And now it's okay because you're out.
Correct.
But when you're going through it, it's like, and so you never enjoy going through it, but out the other side, if there is such a thing, you look back and go, yep, fantastic, because I'm stronger or because I'm whatever. Yeah,
100%, man. You couldn't have highlighted it any better. I mean, it was at the time, that was the first time I suffered mental health. My panic attacks were through the roof, anxiety, didn't want to leave the house. Yeah, it was bad, man. But until you're on that other side, you reflect back and go, God, that was actually character. But at the time, you're crumbling. You're thinking, geez, is there any way out of this?
Okay.
But no, good insights from you.
Cool. I want to let's go to number 2 then. Mindset, right? If I was, I'll come to you for your insights here. My insight from anywhere in life would be our minds. To me, our minds will determine so much in our life, right? A great mindset to me has immeasurable value. It's proven to be the case for me. Mental health is a bitch. So there's almost 2 topics there, right? But mindset, mental health. What are your thoughts around mindset minds in determining where you'll head to in life and what you might achieve?
Where do I think mindset and mental health determines where you're going and want to achieve? Is that the question? Just
mindset. Park mental health for a second.
Well, but mindset and mental health, they're cousins and brothers. Like they're like this. I feel.
Okay.
Well, it is, because I mean, okay, and let me give you the reason as to that. Like if you've got a depressed mind and constantly thinking negatively, and fundamentally your serotonin might be low, your mindset is going to be low. Therefore, I like to look at this this diagram. Tony Robbins does a good one about thoughts creating actions and actions creating results.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your thoughts are toxic and bad, your actions are going to be also that, and therefore you follow. And then results, what do you get? You get shit results. So yeah, that whole thing. But yeah, backtrack to the end part of that question around determining your life. I mean, it is I think it's your absolute it's your engine that it's the most important engine which determines the results in your life. Like if you think you're shit and you think it's about self-worth as well, right? you don't have self-worth, you don't think you're great, your mindset's going to be doing that. You're going to just be doing the average Joe things day in, day out on an activity level. Therefore, what are the results going to look like?
Yep.
Results are going to be poor. So I think the first part is self-worth for me, and going, hey, do I love myself in a nice way? Not in an arrogant way, or not in an egotistical way, but in a way of, do I think I'm valuable enough to be on this planet? Number one.
Yep.
And you go, cool, yep. And then you go, why? Okay, what value am I providing to the world? And also what am I good at? And what do people love me for? Then you go, cool, tick. So your self-worth starts to build there. But if you've got none of that, man, it can go down into a pretty dark path. I mean, we're going deep here and we're peeling off the layers, but yeah, does that make sense?
Awesome, man. So mindset starts everything that follows, right? Without it, probably won't much. Well, it'll follow, or nothing will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So area number 3, and it's kind of not too far removed from what we just talked about. And I just have a comment from my experience of what I've seen and had seen around me, is mental health is a bitch. And I say that it's devastating. It's so difficult to deal with. Sometimes there is an end, sometimes there isn't. It's a real leveler. So that's why I just want to give it its own sort of space, pace, its own light. And I'm glad that it's getting a lot more known out there. I'm glad it's not sort of, chuck it away, because it's devastating. Okay.
That's horrific. And a big shout out quickly to Mike King with Gumboot Friday, and everything he's doing in the space is phenomenal, and quite sickening that the Labor government, and I don't want to get political right now, but slightly, but sad that Jacinda Ardern could only cough up 300 grand for him when this is the biggest issue in New Zealand right now. So
it's devastating. Anyway. Absolutely devastating. Okay, let's lift it up a little bit. Give something that we can do. What can we do? So I'll lead in, because a bit of an insight for me out of life, and it normally comes from when you lose one or both of your parents. So this is a cool experience that, wow, it's again, it won't get heavy, but it's an experience like none other. And I think parents have such a holding force on their children, or in their children. And I think when you see adults with issues, I think a lot of the issues do go back to root cause, and that is from their childhood.
Correct. Yeah.
I've stepped it through. This is not study. This is actual real observation and experience. So, and I see, how do the parents have this hold on children? If those children grow up to be adults, and those adults have issues that go back to their childhood, then I say, parents, tell your children how great they are, and tell your children how proud you are of them. Otherwise, they'll potentially spend their life trying to prove it, and to their detriment. So when my father, like, I talk about some of these achievements along the way, 25,000 referees in the world at the time, getting to the top of that, traveling the world, being the best in this and the best in that, and performance, business, sport, whatever. And so great things along my way, and achievements. But I think, and people ask me, why are you doing it? And I would always say, I just want to see what I'm capable of. Layer one. The real layer was when my father passed away, and I had to, and I realized I wasn't sure whether he was proud of me. And I asked him, and he said, and then he laid it out, how proud he was of me, and the weight, the freedom. And I'd carried that all my life. So I thought, gosh, couldn't parents say, if that was the issue that's going to transpire, and it was a positive issue for me, but it was a weight, and I was always looking to prove to him and for his words. That's all it ever was. And once that happened, Well, blame him because I don't achieve so much anymore. Why? Because I'm free.
Isn't that interesting though? It's that validation point though, wasn't it?
So parents, just validate, man. Validate.
Yeah, you just all you want to hear from your father is, "Hey son, hey, well done."
Exactly.
Well done.
My insight.
To be open, not that we're going to go too much into psychology session, but I can relate to that on a level of just my older brother never giving me any validate, always competitive, but also as I've grown older, I've learned to realize, I no longer need to seek his approval of everything. And yeah, it's a great little weight off the shoulder, isn't it? Yeah. But it's funny because when we still catch up and go snowboarding or whatever, I'm still like, did he see that? Did he see my move? Did he see my maneuver? When do I go skateboarding? But that's because of our younger history. He was always the better brother and everything. And so I was always looking up to him, you know. And same with our fathers. As a father, you look up to your father. It's your role model. And if your father's not giving you any form of love, respect, kindness, and validation, what's that kid going to turn out like?
Yeah, what's the kid going to chase?
Yeah, nothing admirable.
Yep. Hey, all right.
It's crazy anyway.
None of us are getting out of this thing alive.
Look here, Graham. We're not getting out of this scot-free, but you've raised some great points today, and I really do appreciate your time. But seriously, the mental health issue is a really strong topic, and it holds a strong place in my heart. And I think we've got a long way to go here in New Zealand. And yeah, I'd just like to see more campaigns like Mike King's and people doing it on the ground. I mean, big shout out to also Misfit Productions down there in Hawke's Bay. He created the campaign, sparked that chat, and doing great things for mental health. So yeah, we just need to keep doing it because the question is, why do we have the second highest youth suicide rates in the OECD? And look, not causation but correlation. We don't celebrate success enough here in New Zealand. We're too humble for our own bloody liking, and we're all this staunch, stoic, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, don't talk about your successes. Look, that there, in my humble opinion, though, it's just a wrong way to go. But what's wrong with patting yourself on the back and telling your friends how great you did that day? Why is everyone holding that down? It's not conducive to any form of performance or results.
We don't have to become fully American. Did I say that? We could become half.
Yeah, true.
We can learn a lot, right? Yeah.
But we can.
I am too. I think it's a great purpose. There's a lot of pain and a lot to fix there, and so plug for all those people you spoke about, and for things like karate that inadvertently really helping as well. Then there's plenty of things out there that don't have the brand, don't label it as whatever, but they're really helping.
100%. And the culture, we could take elements of the sales culture, elements of the karate, or for that matter, any MMA type discipline, and actually apply that to the way our youth are thinking, feeling, and doing.
Good. We're ready for governance to be the next talk then, because that's where all this leads, right? Is how do we sort of influence the future? And that's governance, man. Here we go. Not today.
That's great. Well, that's fine. No, just loop me onto that governance meeting. I'll just send you the invoice. That's fine. But no, in all sincerity, Grant Holland, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. That's the relationship show, and we've had a very robust, comprehensive chat. But I love the segues throughout. It was a pleasure, man. So thanks for coming on.
You too, Luke. All cool, man. All good.
Just stop record there.